Hello, I am Vivian McGrath from vivianmcgrath.com, and in this video I want to talk about cognitive dissonance. And I'm doing this video because one of you, a woman, wrote to me and asked me if I would do this video, so thank you for this suggestion. And what I mean by that is, why is it that even when you are a strong, successful, capable woman, I'm talking about intimate relationships, you see one thing and believe another. For example, you ignore red flags that you see in toxic relationships. Hands up, anyone who's been in a toxic relationship who, if you're honest with yourself, did not see the red flags in the beginning. I bet no one's got their hand up or down. I can't remember. I've confused that. Anyone who's been in a toxic relationship will be able to say to you, if they're honest with themselves, I saw the red flags, they were there, and I ignored them. And when I left my very toxic relationship, I felt a real shame around this. Deep pain and shame, wondering why, when I saw those flags, did I choose to ignore them? This is completely different to the subject of why didn't I leave, because that's another video in itself. You know, coercive control, brainwashing that goes on in toxic relationships is so manipulative and effective that it's very hard to leave. So I'm not going to focus on that in this video. I'm just going to talk about why you ignore the red flags. And I really wondered, you know, when he was showing me really who he was right from the start, and the red flags were there, and I was a strong, capable, what I thought pretty well-adjusted young woman, why did I choose? Because I did. I chose not to see them. I chose not to believe what I saw, and I chose to only see the fantasy of what I, in my mind, hoped and thought the relationship might be instead. And the reason is this: we only choose what we want to see, and we only see what we need to see, and we subconsciously choose to justify away, minimize, or ignore the flags, the things that we see that don't fit in to that fantasy. Our head, I bet you'll say the same. Your head is screaming at you, this is no good for me. There's something off. There's something not right about this. But our heart just makes us, because it's so drawn towards this person, it makes us excuse away anything that doesn't fit the fantasy. We only see what we want to see. We only believe what we want to believe is true. And all of this comes down to the same thing. It comes down to fear. Because although you might be, like I was when I was in a very violent relationship, you might be capable, strong, well-adjusted, not had abuse in your past. You might be all of those things, but there is a part of you deep down inside that doesn't feel good enough, feels unworthy in some way, feels that she doesn't deserve better, and has a deep-seated fear of ending up alone. And this is a little girl. You might not even be aware she's there. I wasn't. But this scared little girl longs to be loved, valued, accepted, seen, heard. But she's terrified of rejection if she dares to open up and allow anyone to see what's deep inside, because she's afraid that she's unlovable. She's afraid that she's not good enough, that she doesn't measure up, she doesn't fit in, she doesn't belong. And so that makes you feel very, very afraid of vulnerability, because what if I open up to somebody and they see that truth that I'm hiding, even from myself sometimes, and they're going to reject me, they're going to abandon me. And that was what I learned later, subconsciously, what I was absolutely terrified of, being rejected and abandoned. But what I also learned later was that this little girl, I was really shocked to find her. I thought I was really confident and strong and capable. And I was really shocked when I left this toxic relationship and I was still enough and in a safe enough space to start to look within. I found her. And she was the one that was making all of the wrong decisions about intimate partners in my life. She was choosing unavailable men so I could protect my vulnerability and feel safe. If I have this wall around me, if I choose people who are unavailable to me, that means I don't have to open up and get vulnerable and risk getting rejected and hurt. It's a really crazy sort of thing that the little girl in you who doesn't feel good enough is trying to protect you. But what she's doing is ending up choosing people who can never get close to you and pushing away the ones that you really crave to come into your life, the ones who will love you, nurture you, and adore you. Does that make sense? And so you're minimizing the chance of being rejected. And that's what I feared most. You think, if I choose this broken, damaged, unavailable person, then I can fix them. I'm in control of that. And maybe you are strong and tough on the outside. But ask yourself this: do you share that secret that I hid from myself for so long, and I was terrified of others finding out that you don't measure up, you're unworthy, you're unlovable enough to find the type of partner who you long for, who will be there for you and deeply care about you? And do you fear secretly that you're going to end up alone? That's what I was like. And that is what leads you straight into the arms of these flawed men or women who are looking and loving nothing more than to find a partner who's going to put all their needs first above their own, who's going to focus all their energy on trying to help them and fix them and do all that, or into the arms of people who are just unavailable on some level. They might be nice, they might be, a great mate, but they're unavailable intimately. They're unavailable to get close to you in that deep, connecting, personal, loving way. And it also leads you to ignore all those red flags that tell you this relationship is unsafe, because you convince yourself, I'm strong enough to fix it. I'm strong enough to handle anything. And all I need to do is prove I'm worthy enough of their, frankly, way beneath you, broken, damaged, unavailable man or woman. Like, they are so unworthy of you, yet you are doing everything to prove you're worthy of them. You're going to be the one that's different to the rest. You're going to be the one who they give up alcohol for. You're going to be the one that they stop cheating for. You're going to be the whatever. You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? And the problem with this is the longer you hide in this space and keep convincing yourself that the fantasy is possible and that the red flags that you're seeing are not true. You're exaggerating in your head. There's a reason to justify it away. Maybe they're just tired after work, whatever. The more you do that and the more you focus only on what you want to see and ignore all those red flags that are telling you, get out, this is no good for you, this is going to hurt you, the more numb you become and the bigger that cognitive dissonance gap becomes. So you end up living totally in fantasy land. The abuse is getting worse. The lack of intimacy is getting worse. The cheating is getting worse. Yet you are going to even greater lengths to square it in your mind so that that gap isn't there. So you minimize it, you justify it, you pretend it's not happening, you go into denial. And even worse than that, you get numb. And then with each successive toxic relationship after the other, because the number you get, the wider that gap of your cognitive dissonance. That's quite a hard word to say, cognitive dissonance. The bigger that gap becomes, the more vulnerable you actually become. And you go from one toxic relationship to the next. And with each one, the level of emotional distance, emotional or verbal abuse, even physical violence gets worse. And I know that because that was me. I started with just emotionally unavailable, really nice guys, but just emotionally unavailable. And I graduated because I kept thinking, well, it's me. It's not them. They're perfect. That red flag that I'm seeing, that's not real. There's a reason for it. I'm going to justify it away. I'm going to minimize it. I'm going to deny it. And I stopped believing my gut. I stopped believing my gut, and I only saw what I wanted to see, and I only believed what I chose to believe. And that's a very vulnerable and dangerous place to be, because you are really opening yourself up to the risk of being taken advantage of, wasting years and years and years on relationships in which you give everything and get nothing in return, or you accept less than what you deserve and tell yourself that's okay. I don't need it. Sometimes people, when they leave toxic relationships, they convince themselves, you know what, it's not in my destiny. I don't need love. I'm good. I'm tough. I'm strong. I'm successful. I earn a good living. I've got a great house. I'm happy. Good friends. I don't need love. You're choosing to believe that, because all of us deeply wants to have an equal partner who respects us, nurtures us, sees us, hears us, supports us in an equal way, us to them. Everyone does. There's nothing wrong with that. And that's exactly what you deserve. We all want to grow old with somebody, just like I am today. So if you are tired of finding yourself in one emotionally unavailable or toxic relationship after another, and even when you know in your head what the red flags are, you keep saying to yourself, why do I keep doing this? Why do I keep ignoring them? Why is there this big gap between what I know in my head and what I do? and what I accept and what I tolerate and put up with that many people I know wouldn't. What's wrong with me? I mean, that's what so many women come to me saying. So if you're tired of that, please do watch my webinar. I created it to really explain to you how you can start to go about healing from that, taking your power back, not handing your worth to people who don't deserve it. They don't deserve your love. And the first steps that you can take to start to become that woman who knows her value, stands in it, holds her boundaries, and is really happy and whole within, with or without a partner, so that she's ready for that life partner to come. So I'll put that webinar link, how to recover from toxic relationships, fall back in love with life, and never settle for anything less than you deserve again. And if it resonates with you, then let's talk, and I can give you the steps and the plan to break this pattern that's such an lonely, unhappy pattern to be stuck in, let's face it. So I hope that's helped. Thank you so much for joining me, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Sorry for that. Not sure what happened there. I really look forward to seeing you in my next video. Bye for now.